I'm sitting at the end of a marble conference table in a room that costs $800 an hour to rent, watching my mother slide a silver pen across to my father. The banker from Whitestone Capital, a man named Gerald, with perfect teeth and a Patek Philippe watch, stands at the head of the table with a bottle of champagne already sweating on ice. "Congratulations," Gerald says, his voice smooth as money. "The sale of Castellano Systems is now complete. $480 million. My mother, Victoria Castellano, 68 years old, and dressed like she's accepting an award, smiles wide enough to show every cap. My father, Richard, 71, nods like a king accepting tribute. And I sit there, the founder, the one who wrote the first line of code in a basement apartment 13 years ago, feeling like I'm watching my own funeral. Then my mother turns to the room, still smiling, and says the words that stop my heart. Owen is no longer part of the ownership structure. He retired for health reasons last year. We've been managing operations in his absence." Every head in the room turns to me. The buyer's CEO, a woman named Stephanie Cross, frowns slightly. The lawyers pause mid-note. I try to speak, but my throat has closed. My voice comes out thin, broken. "I built this." My mother's smile doesn't waver. "And we finished it, sweetheart. You were brilliant at the start, but running a company requires stability. You understand." She says it like she's explaining something to a child. My father still won't meet my eyes. Gerald clears his throat, uncomfortable now. "Well, this is all." The buyer's general counsel, a sharp-eyed man named Taurus, interrupts. "Excuse me, but where is the founder's consent page? The one acknowledging the sale and transfer of shares?" My mother's smile flickers for half a second. "Owen transferred his shares to us years ago. It's all documented." Taurus looks at me. "Mr. Castellano, did you sign a transfer agreement?" I open my mouth. My mother speaks first. "He was unwell at the time. We handled the paperwork properly. Everything in the room feels wrong. The air is too thin. The lights are too bright." I stand up, chair scraping loud against marble. "I never signed anything." My father finally speaks, voice quiet and tired. "Owen, please, don't make this difficult." "Difficult?" My voice is shaking now. "You sold my company without telling me. You told these people I'm sick. You." My mother cuts in, voice sharp as broken glass. "Security will walk you out if you can't control yourself." A man in a dark suit appears in the doorway. I didn't even see him enter. This wasn't spontaneous. They planned for this moment. They prepared for me to object. Stephanie Cross, the buyer, looks deeply uncomfortable now. "Perhaps we should take a brief recess." "That won't be necessary," my mother says smoothly. "My son has been under significant stress. We're handling his care privately." She's doing it again, painting me as unstable, fragile, someone who needs to be managed. The security guard takes a step closer. I look at my father one last time, silently begging him to say something, anything. He stares at his hands. Taurus, the buyer's lawyer, closes his folder slowly. Then he leans toward me and whispers, just loud enough for me to hear. "Mr. Castellano, did you ever sign anything? Stock agreements? Operating documents? Anything at all?" I'm being escorted toward the door, but I manage to answer. "I signed the founding documents, 13 years ago, that's it." Taurus makes a note, and my mother's smile finally cracks. I sit in my truck in the parking garage for 40 minutes, hands gripping the steering wheel so hard they go numb. It's not the money. I know that sounds insane. $480 million should matter, but it's not about the money. It's about watching my parents stand in that room and erase me. Erase 13 years of 90-hour weeks. Erase the nights I slept on the office floor because I couldn't afford rent and office space. Erase every sacrifice, every failure, every moment I chose this company over everything else. They didn't just take my ownership, they took my story. My phone buzzes, a text from my wife, Paige. "Please don't make this ugly. They did what was best for everyone. Come home and we'll talk." I stare at that message until the screen goes dark. They did what was best. Not, "I can't believe they did this to you." Not, "Are you okay?" They did what was best. She knew. My phone buzzes again, a voicemail from a number I haven't called in years. I press play. "Owen, it's Gerald Morrison, your old attorney from the founding. I heard about the sale through the grapevine. Congratulations, I guess. But listen, this might sound paranoid, but do you still have your founding binder, the one with all the original paperwork? If you don't, you need to find it. Call me." He hangs up. I sit there in the dark garage, engine off, phone in my lap. Founding binder. I haven't thought about that binder in a decade, but I know exactly where it is. My house is dark when I get home. Paige's car is in the driveway, but all the lights are off. I don't call out. I just walk straight to the hallway closet, pull down the attic ladder, and climb up into the dust and heat. The attic smells like old insulation and forgotten things. I find the box in the back corner, buried under Christmas decorations and my son Caleb's old sports equipment. The cardboard is soft with age, the label written in my own handwriting from 13 years ago. Foundation documents, do not lose. I carry it down, set it on the kitchen table, and open it. Inside, contracts, email printouts, handwritten notes, early investor term sheets, and at the very front, a thick stack of paper bound with a binder clip. Castellano Systems LLC Operating Agreement. The first page has my signature, Owen Castellano, dated March 14, 2011. The second page has my parents' signatures. They joined as advisory partners 6 months after I started, when I needed capital and was desperate enough to let family in. I flip through pages of dense legal language, equity splits, voting rights transfer restrictions, and then I find it. Page 17. A clause I barely remember writing. Section 8.4, Founder Recognition and Public Attribution. I read it once, twice, 3 times. My hands start shaking. This isn't a veto clause. It doesn't give me the power to stop a sale. But it gives me something else, something my parents clearly forgot about, something the buyer absolutely cannot ignore. My phone rings, my mother's name lights up the screen. I let it ring twice before answering. Owen, sweetheart. Her voice is sugar sweet. You're not planning to come to dinner tonight, are you? I think it's best if we all take some space. I look down at the clause in front of me. Actually, Mom, I'll be there. Silence on the other end. That's unexpected. I have something I want to show you. I read Section 8.4 so many times the words start to blur together. In the event of any sale, merger, or transfer of substantially all assets of Castellano Systems LLC, the acquiring party must A. Publicly identify Owen Castellano as founder and original creator in all regulatory filings, press releases, and investor materials. B. Provide written acknowledgement of founder's role in company materials for a period of not less than 5 years following close. C. Or, in lieu of compliance with A and B, pay an annual founder recognition and advisory fee equal to 0.5% of gross revenues, payable quarterly, in perpetuity. It's not a buyout clause. It's not a poison pill. It's a truth clause. One I wrote at 34 years old, exhausted and probably drunk, after my mother told an investor I was just the technical guy, and she was the real vision. I wrote it thinking it would never matter, thinking it was symbolic. But 0.5% of gross revenues on a company doing $200 million annually? That's $1 million a year. Forever. Unless they publicly call me the founder. Which my parents just spent an entire acquisition process denying. My phone rings again. My mother. I don't answer. Instead, I call Gerald Morrison, my old attorney. He picks up on the first ring. Owen, you found it? I found it. Is this real? If it's in the signed operating agreement and it wasn't amended, yes, it's enforceable. They're gonna say I'm incompetent, that I don't understand. Then you get a medical evaluation proving you're sharp as ever, and you make them look like liars. Owen, this clause doesn't stop the sale, but it forces the buyer to choose. Tell the truth, or pay you forever. I close my eyes. They're going to destroy me for this. They were already destroying you. This just means you're still standing when they're done. I show up to dinner exactly on time. My parents' house, the one they bought with company profits 3 years ago, is a sprawling colonial in a gated community, all white columns and manicured hedges. My mother answers the door in a cashmere sweater and pearls, smiling like this is a normal Sunday. Owen? Come in, darling. Dinner's almost ready. Inside, the house smells like roast chicken and rosemary. Classical music plays softly from hidden speakers. Paige is already there, sitting on the couch with a glass of wine. She gives me a tight smile. My father is in his armchair by the fireplace, reading the Wall Street Journal like he's in a commercial for retirement. This is theater. All of it. We sit down at the dining table, my mother at one end, my father at the other, me and Paige on the sides like children. My mother serves the food herself, cheerful and gracious. So, Owen, we need to discuss the transition documents. There are a few papers you'll need to sign tomorrow to finalize your separation from the company. Just formalities. She slides a folder across the table. I don't open it. Separation documents. Yes, releasing any residual claims, confirming the transfer was legitimate, that sort of thing. The transfer I never signed. My mother's smile tightens. Owen, we've been through this. Have we? My father sets down his fork. Son, don't do this. Do what? Ask questions about my own company? Paige puts her hand on mine. Owen, please, they're trying to help. I pull my hand away. I already signed something, Mom. Years ago. Victoria's smile vanishes. What are you talking about? The operating agreement, the one with the founder recognition clause. The room goes silent. My father's face drains of color. Stack. My mother recovers first, laughing lightly. That old thing? Owen, that's symbolic. It doesn't mean anything. Then why does it say the buyer has to publicly acknowledge me as founder or pay me 0.5% of revenues forever? My father stands abruptly. You're misreading it. Am I? Paige is staring at me like I've grown a second head. My mother's voice turns cold. You're going to ruin this deal over some technicality you wrote when you were drunk and dramatic? I'm going to hold you to the agreement you signed. She stands, chair scraping. Sign the separation papers, Owen. Don't make me force you. I meet her eyes. You can't force the truth, Mom. Paige follows me out to the driveway, heels clicking on the brick. What the hell was that? I unlock my truck. That was me refusing to be erased. You're going to destroy your relationship with your parents over money? This isn't about money, isn't it? She crosses her arms. Owen, they did what they had to do. You weren't capable of running the company anymore. Everyone could see it. I turned to face her. Everyone. Or just the people they told. She looks away. Paige, did you know about the sale? Silence. Answer me. They called me 2 months ago. They said they were worried about you, that you were becoming unstable, making bad decisions. They asked me to keep an eye on you, to let them know if you were struggling. My chest feels hollow. And you didn't tell me. I was trying to protect you. Her voice cracks. They promised us stability, Owen, a trust fund for Caleb's kids, a condo in the city. They said if you stayed calm, if you didn't fight, everyone would be taken care of. Taken care of. I repeat the words slowly, tasting their bitterness. You sold me out for a condo. I didn't sell you out, I chose our future. They lied to you, Paige. I'm not unstable, I'm not incompetent. I built that company from nothing, and they stole it. She shakes her head, tears starting. They wouldn't do that. They're your parents. Exactly. I get in my truck. As I'm pulling away, she calls after me. Owen, wait, they said they had to sell before you found out. I break. Found out what? But she's already walking back toward the house. The next morning I meet Landon Pierce at a diner 40 minutes outside the city. Landon was my first real hire, employee number 3, lead developer, the guy who wrote half the core code base with me. He left the company 2 years ago after my parents pushed him out with a generous severance and a harsh NDA. He slides into the booth looking nervous, eyes darting to the door. Owen, I shouldn't be here. My NDA is probably worthless if they obtained it through fraud. But I'm not asking you to violate it. I just want to understand what happened. He exhales slowly. Then he slides a folded piece of paper across the table. It's an internal memo, dated 8 months ago. Executive leadership. From Victoria Castellano, COO. Founder transition. As discussed, Owen's recent cognitive decline and erratic decision-making have created operational challenges. Per board recommendation, all strategic decisions will now route through executive committee. Owen will be transitioned to emeritus advisory role effective immediately. Public messaging. Health-related retirement. I read it 3 times. Cognitive decline. Erratic decision-making. My vision blurs red at the edges. This is a lie, all of it. I know, Landon says quietly. Everyone knew, but your parents controlled the narrative, and anyone who questioned it got bought out or forced out. My hands are shaking. There's more, Landon says, pulling out his phone. He shows me an email thread. My mother, writing to the buyer's due diligence team. Please note that while Owen Castellano was instrumental in early development, his recent health issues necessitated a transfer of operational control. All IP and decision-making authority now rests with current management. I feel sick. They didn't just cut me out. They made me the problem. Yeah, Landon's jaw tightens, and they pinned one more thing on you. He slides over another document. A supplier dispute that nearly killed the acquisition last year, blamed entirely on Owen's volatile negotiations and unrealistic demands. I stare at the document. I was never involved in these negotiations. I know. But the buyer doesn't. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Owen, this is Marcus Chen, Highline Manufacturing. I heard about the sale. Congratulations, but I want you to know. I never blamed you for what happened. Your mother did that? Want proof? I look up at Landon. They built a whole fake case against me. And now you can tear it down. I spend the afternoon in my home office, door locked, assembling evidence. The supplier emails Marcus sends me are damning. Clear threads showing my mother demanding price cuts the supplier couldn't meet, then threatening to pull contracts if they didn't comply. When the supplier pushed back, she sent an email to the buyer's team. Unfortunately, Owen created an adversarial relationship with this vendor through unrealistic demands. We've had to step in to repair the damage. The supplier had never even spoken to me. It's not a smoking gun. It's not fraud in the legal sense. But it's a pattern, a deliberate, methodical campaign to rewrite history. To make me the villain in a story where I was the victim. My old attorney Gerald calls. Owen, I did some digging. The operating agreement is solid. And that founder clause, it's enforceable. But here's the thing. If the buyer sees evidence that your parents misrepresented key facts during due diligence, they could claim the deal was built on fraudulent representations. Which means what? Which means the sale could be unwound, or renegotiated, or the buyer could sue your parents for damages. My blood goes cold. So if I show them this, you don't just hurt your parents, you potentially blow up a $480 million deal, which means the buyer will come after you too. I close my eyes. What do I do? You use it as leverage. You don't leak it. You don't threaten. You just make sure the buyer knows the truth before they close, and you let them decide what to do with it. I don't go to the buyer's headquarters. I don't send angry emails. I do exactly what Gerald suggested. I send a carefully worded letter to the buyer's general counsel, Taurus. Mr. Taurus, I am writing to provide clarification on certain representations made during the acquisition process regarding my role at Castellano Systems. Attached, please find original founding documents showing my role as sole founder. Communications indicating operational involvement through Q2 of this year. Third-party correspondence contradicting claims of erratic behavior. I am not seeking to block this transaction. I am simply ensuring that all parties have accurate information before close. I remain available to discuss the Founder Recognition Clause, Section 8.4, at your convenience. Respectfully, Owen Castellano. I send it certified mail and email. Then I wait. 2 hours later my phone rings. It's Taurus. Mr. Castellano, I received your letter. I'd like to meet with you privately tomorrow if possible. Of course. And Mr. Castellano, don't mention this to your parents yet. I need to verify a few things first. He hangs up. 5 minutes later my mother calls, furious. What did you do? I sent a letter. You contacted the buyer directly? Are you insane? I corrected false information. You're trying to sabotage this deal. My voice stays calm. No, Mom, I'm trying to stop you from sabotaging me. She's breathing hard, barely controlling her rage. If you ruin this, Owen, I will destroy you. I will make sure every person in this industry knows you're unstable. You already tried that. It didn't work. I hang up. My hands aren't shaking anymore. I walk into the buyer's regional office at 10 a.m., wearing a suit I haven't worn in 2 years. The receptionist seems to be expecting me. Mr. Castellano, Miss Cross will see you now. Stephanie Cross, the buyer's CEO, is waiting in a small conference room with Taurus and one other person, a woman I don't recognize. Mr. Castellano, thank you for coming. This is Dr. Amanda Reeves, our lead technical due diligence advisor. We shake hands. Dr. Reeves looks at me with sharp, assessing eyes. Mr. Castellano, I've been reviewing the technical architecture of Castellano Systems. I have a question. Of course. Are you the man whose name is on every core patent? The original system design? The foundational code base? I blink, surprised. Yes, she nods slowly. Then I need to understand something. Your parents told us you were removed from operations due to health concerns. But the patents, the documentation, even the commit history in the code base, it all shows active ACT-rate, high-level contributions through at least 6 months ago. She slides a printout across the table. This is a commit log from your GitHub account. Last entry, 4 months ago. Complex algorithm optimization. Hardly the work of someone experiencing cognitive decline. Stephanie Cross leans forward. Mr. Castellano, we need you to be very honest with us. Were you removed from the company for health reasons, or for other reasons? I take a breath. I was never formally removed. I was sidelined, then erased from the narrative. I don't have cognitive decline. I was never unstable. They needed me gone so the sale could happen without complications. Taurus makes a note. And the founder recognition clause? It's real. It's in the operating agreement, and they forgot about it. Stephanie Cross exchanges a look with Taurus. Mr. Castellano, if that clause is enforceable, we have a problem. We can't close this deal cleanly with conflicting representations about who founded the company. My heart is pounding. I'm not here to block the sale. Then what do you want? I want the truth on record. I want my name where it belongs, and I want them to stop lying about me. Taurus closes his folder. We need to verify the operating agreement. If that clause is valid, we'll need to renegotiate terms with your parents. Stephanie Cross looks at me directly. Mr. Castellano, this clause isn't sentimental, this is legal leverage. I meet her eyes. Yes, ma'am, it is. I don't go home. I check into a hotel because I know what's coming. Sure enough, at 8 p.m. my mother calls. I let it go to voicemail. She doesn't leave a message. Instead, she sends a text. You need to stop this immediately. You're going to destroy everything we built. Call me. I don't respond. At 9 p.m. my father calls. I answer. Dad. Owen. His voice is thin, strained. Please, stop contacting the buyer. You're making this so much harder than it needs to be. Harder for who? For everyone. The deal is done. The contracts are signed. Why are you doing this? Because you sold my company and told everyone I was sick. Silence. We didn't have a choice. You had a choice. You chose to lie. We were protecting you. From what? The truth? He doesn't answer. Dad, I found the clause. The founder recognition clause. You signed it, you agreed to it. I can hear him breathing. That clause doesn't mean anything. The buyer disagrees. Their lawyers are reviewing it now. Owen, if you don't drop this, your mother will. Will what? Ruin me? She already tried. She'll make sure you never work again. She'll tell everyone you're unstable. She'll get doctors, affidavits, medical evaluations. Then I'll get my own, and mine will show the truth. He's quiet for a long time. Then, voice breaking. Why are you doing this to us? I close my eyes. I'm not doing anything to you, Dad. I'm just refusing to disappear. The next morning, Taurus sends me a formal email. Mr. Castellano, we have reviewed Section 8.4 of the operating agreement. Our legal team confirms that the founder recognition and public attribution clause is valid and enforceable. This clause creates a significant compliance issue for our acquisition. Under current representations, we cannot simultaneously 1. Close the acquisition as structured, and 2. Comply with the clause's requirements regarding public founder identification. We are requesting an emergency meeting with all parties, yourself, your parents, and their legal counsel, to resolve this matter before close. The alternative is annual payments equal to 0.5% of gross revenues in perpetuity, which materially changes the economics of this transaction. Please confirm your availability for Wednesday 2 p.m. I forward the email to Gerald. He calls me immediately. Owen, this is it. They're gonna have to choose, publicly acknowledge you as founder or pay you forever. What if they refuse both? Then the deal falls apart, which is why they won't refuse. Your mother wants that money, and the buyer wants a clean acquisition. So what happens Wednesday? You sit quietly, you let the lawyers fight, and you don't give an inch. That afternoon, my mother sends me a voicemail. Her voice is shaking with rage. You selfish, ungrateful child. After everything we did for you, after we saved that company when you were too weak to run it, after we protected you from yourself, this is how you repay us? A pause. Fine. You want war? You'll get war. I'm filing to have you declared unfit to manage your own affairs. If you won't sign the papers voluntarily, we'll get a court order. The message ends. I play it twice, then I call my attorney. Gerald, she's going for guardianship. Then we go for an independent medical evaluation. Today. And we document everything. The guardianship petition arrives by courier the next morning. In the matter of Owen Castellano, petition for appointment of guardian petitioners, Richard and Victoria Castellano respectfully request the court appoint them as guardians of their adult son, Owen Castellano, due to concerns regarding his ability to manage his personal and financial affairs. Supporting evidence includes medical documentation suggesting cognitive impairment, erratic financial decisions, statements from family members regarding confusion and paranoia. It's legal, it's brutal, and it could actually work. If a judge believes them, I lose everything: my rights, my autonomy, my ability to fight. Gerald sends me to a neuropsychologist that afternoon. Dr. Paulson is in her 50s, calm and methodical. She puts me through 4 hours of testing: memory, problem-solving, executive function, emotional regulation. At the end, she looks at me over her glasses. Mr. Castellano, I'm going to be very direct. There is absolutely nothing wrong with your cognitive function. You're sharp, articulate, and fully competent. Can you put that in a report? I'll have it to your attorney by end of day tomorrow. I exhale for what feels like the first time in hours. Thank you. She pauses. Mr. Castellano, whoever told people you were experiencing cognitive decline was lying. And that's not just unethical. Depending on the context, it could be defamation. I drive back to the hotel feeling something I haven't felt in days. Hope. But when I check my phone, there's a text from Paige. They're filing to declare you unfit. I had to sign a statement. I'm sorry. The hope evaporates. I call Paige. She answers on the 4th ring. Voice small. Owen. You signed a statement saying I'm unfit? They asked me to. Your mother said it was temporary, just to protect you during the transition. Protect me, Paige. They're trying to strip my legal rights. I didn't know it would be like this. They told me it was for your own good, that you were spiraling, making irrational decisions. And you believed them. Silence. They offered me money, didn't they? My voice is cold now. She starts crying. They said if I helped keep you calm, if I made sure you didn't fight the sale, they'd set up a trust for Caleb's future, for our future. A trust. $2 million, Owen, and the condo. I was thinking about us, about security. You were thinking about yourself. That's not fair. You sold me out for a condo and a check. I thought they were protecting you. Her voice breaks. Your mother showed me emails, documents, things that made it seem like you were losing it. I believed her. Because you wanted to believe her. Because it was easier. She's sobbing now. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Are you? Or are you sorry you got caught? She doesn't answer. I hang up. 10 minutes later she texts. They're not going to stop. Your mother said if you don't withdraw the clause issue, she'll make sure you lose everything. She has doctors, witnesses, years of documentation. She'll prove you can't manage your own life. I stare at that message. Then I call Gerald. How fast can we get that evaluation report? I'll have it by morning. Good. Because we're going to need it Wednesday. The guardianship hearing is scheduled for Friday, 2 days after the buyer's emergency meeting. My mother is accelerating. She knows the Wednesday meeting is her last chance to control the narrative. If I come to that table as a legally competent adult with proof that she's been lying, she loses her leverage. But if she can get me declared unfit before Wednesday, the whole clause becomes moot. I can't enforce a contract if I'm under guardianship. It's elegant, in a horrifying way. Gerald files an emergency motion to dismiss the petition, attaching Dr. Paulson's evaluation report. Conclusion. Owen Castellano demonstrates full cognitive capacity, intact memory, appropriate emotional regulation, and sophisticated problem-solving abilities. There is no medical basis for guardianship. We file it Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon, my mother's attorney responds with their own medical evaluation. From a doctor I've never met, claiming I'm experiencing early-stage dementia complicated by paranoid ideation. It's fraudulent. But it's on official letterhead. Gerald reads it and curses under his breath. This is malpractice. No legitimate doctor would diagnose dementia without examining the patient. Can we prove that? We can try. But it's going to come down to which doctor the judge believes. That evening, someone knocks on my hotel room door. I look through the peephole. It's my son, Caleb. I open the door. Caleb stands there looking exactly like he did at 16, awkward, ashamed, unable to meet my eyes. He's 25 now. Works in finance, lives downtown. We haven't spoken in 3 months. Dad, Caleb. Can I come in? I step aside. He walks in, hands shoved in his pockets, and stands by the window. I signed something I shouldn't have. My chest tightens. What did you sign? Grandma asked me to write a statement. She said it was for insurance purposes, something to protect you. I wrote that you'd been forgetful, confused, that I was worried. He turns to face me, eyes wet. I didn't know she was going to use it for this. I didn't know she was trying to declare you unfit. I sit down on the bed, feeling like I've been punched. When did you sign it? 2 months ago. Before the sale was even announced. She's been planning this for months. Caleb, that statement, it's being used to strip my legal rights. I know, I saw the filing. He wipes his eyes. Dad, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. She made it sound like she was helping you. She's good at that. He nods, jaw tight. I want to fix it. I'll write a retraction. I'll testify if I have to. I'll tell the judge she manipulated me. I look at my son, the boy I raised who spent his whole life trying to please everyone. If you do that, your grandmother will destroy you. I don't care, she'll cut you off, financially, emotionally, all of it. Good. His voice is hard now. I'm done being her prop. I stand and pull him into a hug. He holds on tight. Wednesday morning arrives with the weight of a hurricane. The emergency meeting is at 2 p.m. At 11 a.m. Torres sends me an email. Mr. Castellano, the buyer has formally notified your parents that closing is delayed pending resolution of the founder recognition issue. We cannot proceed with conflicting representations regarding company origins. Your parents have requested this meeting to resolve the misunderstanding. Please come prepared to discuss terms. At 1:45 p.m., I walk into the buyer's law offices with Gerald beside me. My parents are already there. My mother is dressed in a cream suit, perfectly composed. My father looks 10 years older than he did last week. Their attorney, a man named Whitfield who charges $800 an hour, sits between them with a briefcase full of documents. Stephanie Cross and Torres represent the buyer. Everyone sits. My mother speaks first, voice smooth and reasonable. I'm glad we could all come together to clear up this unfortunate confusion. Owen has been under significant stress and I think some wires got crossed. Torres interrupts. Mrs. Castellano, we're not here to discuss stress. We're here to discuss Section 8.4 of the operating agreement. My mother's smile tightens. That clause is symbolic. It was written years ago when Owen was still involved in day-to-day operations. It doesn't apply now. It applies if it's in the signed agreement. But it was never meant to be enforced. It was. Ma'am, intent doesn't override contract language. Whitfield, their lawyer, clears his throat. Our position is that Mr. Menerbe Owen Castellano relinquished any rights under that clause when he transferred operational control to his parents. Except he never signed a transfer agreement, Torres says calmly. Silence. Whitfield shifts in his seat. We have documentation. We'd like to see it. My mother's voice cuts in, sharp now. The point is, Owen is no longer involved with the company. He hasn't been for over a year. He can't enforce a clause tied to a role he no longer holds. Torres looks at her. Mrs. Castellano, the clause doesn't say active founder. It says founder. That's a permanent designation. My mother's mask cracks. This is ridiculous. We built this company. We turned his little project into something valuable. He's trying to extort us with legal technicalities. Stephanie Cross speaks for the first time. With respect, Mrs. Castellano, we need resolution. Either you comply with the clause, or we restructure the deal to account for the ongoing payments. My mother stares at her. Then she says the words that end everything. He's not the founder. I am. The room goes silent. Torres blinks. I'm sorry, what? My mother lifts her chin. I founded Castellano Systems. Owen was an employee. A talented one, yes, but I provided the vision, the capital, the business strategy. I am the founder. Stephanie Cross looks at me. I don't say anything. I just reach into my briefcase and pull out a single folder. Inside, the original lease for our first office space, signed by me, dated March 2011. The first business license, my name only. Early investor emails addressing me as founder and CEO. Patent applications, listing me as sole inventor. Payroll records showing me as employee number 1. I slide the folder across the table. These are dated documents from the first 2 years of the company, before my parents were involved. Torres picks up the folder, reads carefully. My mother's face is pale now. Those are administrative documents. They don't reflect the real structure. They're time-stamped, notarized, and filed with state agencies, Gerald says quietly. They're irrefutable. Whitfield, their lawyer, is reading over Torres's shoulder. His expression says everything. Stephanie Cross leans back in her chair. Mrs. Castellano, do you want to repeat your claim under penalty of perjury? My mother's mouth opens, closes. We built it together, as a family. But you weren't there when it started. I was there when it mattered. Torres closes the folder. Ma'am, we have a problem. You've represented yourself as founder throughout this acquisition. These documents prove that's false. It's not false, it's a material misrepresentation. Whitfield puts a hand on my mother's arm, silencing her. Perhaps we can discuss a resolution that works for everyone. The resolution is simple, Torres says. Comply with the clause. Publicly acknowledge Owen Castellano as founder, correct the regulatory filings, or pay the 0.5% annually. My father finally speaks, voice barely audible. How much is 0.5% annually? On current revenues, approximately $1.2 million per year, in perpetuity. My mother makes a sound like she's been struck. Stephanie Cross folds her hands. We need a decision by end of week. Otherwise, we restructure the entire deal, which delays closing and changes the purchase price. My mother turns to look at me for the first time. Her eyes are full of hate. You planned this. I meet her gaze. No, Mom. You planned this. 13 years ago when you signed an agreement you didn't bother to read. The meeting ends with no resolution. Whitfield requests 48 hours to review options. Translation: they need time to figure out how to salvage this without admitting they lied. I'm walking to my car when my father catches up to me. Owen. Wait, I stop. He looks smaller somehow, fragile. Please, can we talk? Just the two of us? I unlock my car. Get in. We drive to a park on the edge of town, sit on a bench overlooking a lake. For a long time, neither of us speaks. Then my father says quietly, I never wanted this. I don't respond. Your mother, she's always been the strong one, the one who makes decisions. I follow. That's not an excuse, Dad. I know. His voice cracks. I know. But Owen, if you push this, if you force the buyer to rewrite the deal, your mother will never forgive you. She'll spend the rest of her life destroying you. She's already doing that. He closes his eyes. What if we paid you? Quietly, outside the deal. We give you a settlement, you sign an NDA, everyone moves on. I turn to look at him. How much? He pulls an envelope from his jacket. $5 million. Cash, tax-free if we structure it right. I open the envelope. It's a settlement agreement. In exchange for $5,000, Owen Castellano agrees to release all claims under Section 8.4, refrain from contacting the buyer, acknowledge that all representations regarding company founding were accurate, sign a comprehensive non-disclosure agreement. I read it twice, then I slide it back. No. Owen, please. I'm not selling silence, Dad. I'm buying truth. Truth doesn't pay bills. It does if you're willing to lose everything else for it. He stares at the envelope in his lap. Your mother is going to destroy you. She has doctors who will testify you're unfit. She has lawyers who will tie you up in court for years. I have the truth, and I have time, and I'm not afraid of her anymore. He looks at me with something like despair. I'm afraid of her. I almost feel sorry for him. Almost. Then you should have protected me from her a long time ago. Friday arrives, the day of the guardianship hearing and the day the buyer's deadline expires. At 9 a.m. I'm in a courtroom. Judge Patricia Owens presides, a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and zero patience for nonsense. My mother's attorney presents their case first. He calls a Dr. Herman, the psychiatrist who diagnosed me with early-stage dementia without ever meeting me. Dr. Herman testifies that, based on medical records and family reports, I'm experiencing significant cognitive decline. Gerald cross-examines him. Dr. Herman, when did you personally examine Mr. Castellano? I didn't perform a direct examination. I reviewed records. So you diagnosed dementia without speaking to the patient? In complex cases, it's sometimes appropriate to rely on collateral information. Is it appropriate to stake someone's legal rights on a diagnosis made without examination? Dr. Herman shifts uncomfortably. I stand by my assessment. Then Gerald calls Dr. Paulson. She brings printouts of my test results, every cognitive measure well above average. Dr. Paulson, in your professional opinion, does Mr. Castellano require a guardian? Absolutely not. He's fully competent. My mother's attorney tries to discredit her. Dr. Paulson, isn't it true that Mr. Castellano paid for your evaluation? Yes. Just like the petitioners paid for Dr. Herman's. Then comes the moment that changes everything. Caleb takes the stand. My mother's eyes go wide. Your Honor, Caleb says, voice shaking but clear. I wrote a statement 2 months ago saying my father was confused. I was lied to. My grandmother told me it was for insurance purposes. She manipulated me into creating evidence for this guardianship petition. My mother's attorney stands. Objection, this is. I'll allow it, Judge Owen says. Continue, Mr. Castellano. My father is not unfit. He never was. This petition is retaliation because he won't sign away his legal rights to a company he founded. The judge makes a note. At 11:15 a.m. Judge Owens delivers her ruling. I find no medical basis for guardianship. Dr. Herman's assessment is insufficient without direct examination. Dr. Paulson's evaluation, combined with Mr. Owen Castellano's own testimony, demonstrates full competence. She looks directly at my mother. Furthermore, I am deeply troubled by evidence suggesting this petition was filed in bad faith. Using the guardianship process as a litigation tactic is an abuse of the court system. Petition dismissed. The gavel falls. My mother doesn't move. Outside the courthouse, she corners me on the steps. Her voice is low, venomous. You think you won? You think this is over? It is over, Mom. I will destroy your reputation. I will make sure no one in this industry ever works with you. I will. You already tried, it didn't work. She stares at me, realizing she's lost her last weapon. Then she leans in close. If I have to give you credit, if I have to put your name on filings, if I have to let the world know you built this, I will make sure everyone also knows how you fell apart. How you couldn't handle success, how you needed us to save you. I meet her eyes. Go ahead, because the documents prove otherwise. That afternoon, Taurus sends an email to all parties. The buyer requires resolution by Monday morning. We will not close without 1. Corrected founder attributions in all regulatory filings. 2. Public acknowledgement in press materials. 3. Or documented agreement to pay the annual advisory fee. Please advise. Monday morning, the emergency meeting reconvenes. This time, Paige is there. I don't know why until she stands up. I want to make a statement. Everyone turns. Owen isn't stable. He's been erratic for months. This whole thing, the clause, the documents, the guardianship fight, it's all evidence that he's not thinking clearly. He needs help, not. Caleb stands. That's a lie, and you know it. Paige stares at him. Caleb, I'm trying to protect your father. You're trying to protect the trust fund Grandma promised you. The room goes silent. Caleb's voice is steady now. I was there when Grandma called you. When she told you if you managed Dad during the transition, you'd get $2 million in the condo. You're not protecting him. You're protecting your payout. Paige's face goes white. Stephanie Cross makes a note. Taurus looks at Paige coldly. Mrs. Castellano, are you receiving financial consideration from the sellers? Paige doesn't answer. Because if you are, your testimony about your husband's competence is compromised. She sits down, hands shaking. My mother is staring at Caleb like he's a stranger, like she's seeing him clearly for the first time, and what she sees is someone who finally stopped being afraid of her. The independent medical evaluation, the one from Dr. Paulson, is submitted to the buyer as part of the closing documents. Conclusion. Owen Castellano is fully competent, cognitively intact, and capable of managing complex business affairs. Taurus reads it aloud for the record. Then he looks at my mother's attorney. Counselor, your clients represented that Mr. Castellano was removed due to medical incapacity. That representation appears to be false. Whitfield clears his throat. There may have been miscommunication about the nature of his departure. Miscommunication? Or intentional misrepresentation? My mother stands abruptly. This is absurd. We're the ones who made this company valuable. We're the ones who built relationships, secured contracts, grew revenue. He coded in a basement. We made it a business. Stephanie Cross speaks calmly. Mrs. Castellano, your contributions are noted, but they don't change the legal reality. Your son founded the company. The operating agreement requires us to acknowledge that, and you agreed to those terms when you signed. My mother's hands are shaking. Then we'll pay the fee. We'll pay the 0.5%. Annually. In perpetuity. Fine. Torres makes a note. Actually, Mrs. Castellano, there's one more issue. He slides a document across the table. The operating agreement also includes a provision that if the founder is publicly misrepresented in marketing or investor materials, the fee triples. My mother's face drains of color. What? Section 8.4 subsection C. Read it. I lean forward, reading over her shoulder. If founder is intentionally misidentified or excluded from public attribution for commercial advantage, the recognition fee shall increase to 1.5% of gross revenues. I don't remember writing that clause, but it's there. In the signed agreement. 1.5% of $200 million in annual revenue is $3 million. Every year. Forever. My mother looks like she's going to be sick. Whitfield is frantically flipping through the agreement. This was buried in legal language. They couldn't have known. They signed it, Torres says simply. That's all that matters. My mother turns to me, voice breaking. You planned this. 13 years ago, you planned to destroy us. I look at her. No, Mom. 13 years ago, I protected myself. I just didn't know from what yet. The buyer gives my parents 24 hours to decide. Option 1, publicly acknowledge the truth. Correct the filings, put my name where it belongs. Option 2, pay $3 million per year for the rest of the company's existence. My mother doesn't speak to me. She doesn't speak to anyone. That night, Whitfield calls Gerald. We'll comply with the clause. All of it? Yes. Public attribution, corrected filings, press release. And the statement about removal without cause? A pause. Yes. Send the draft by morning. Wednesday morning, the buyer's PR team sends out a press release. I read it on my phone, sitting in my hotel room. Whitestone Capital acquires Castellano Systems Charlotte, NC. Whitestone Capital is pleased to announce the acquisition of Castellano Systems, a leading provider of enterprise automation solutions founded by Owen Castellano in 2011. Mr. Castellano's vision and technical innovation established the company as an industry leader. Under subsequent leadership, the company expanded operations and grew to $200 million in annual revenue. We're excited to build on the foundation Owen Castellano created, said Stephanie Cross, CEO of Whitestone Capital. It's not much, 2 sentences, but it's the truth. And my mother had to sign off on every word. That afternoon, the closing happens. No cameras, no champagne, just lawyers, documents, and wire transfers. My parents sign, the buyer signs, $480 million changes hands. And at the bottom of the final document, there's an addendum. The parties acknowledge that Owen Castellano was removed from operational involvement without cause, and that all prior representations suggesting medical incapacity were inaccurate. My mother's hand shakes as she signs it. When it's done, she stands without a word and walks out. My father lingers. Owen, I look at him. I'm sorry for all of it. I know. Will you ever forgive us? I think about that. Maybe, but not today. He nods and leaves. I'm left alone in the conference room with Gerald. You did it, he says quietly. Did I? You got the truth on record. You protected your name. You forced them to acknowledge what they tried to erase. I look at the documents on the table. Proof that I existed, that I mattered, that I built something real. It doesn't feel like winning. No, Gerald agrees. It feels like surviving. 3 months later, I'm standing in a new office. Smaller than Castellano Systems. Quieter. Mine. I started a consulting firm, helping founders protect themselves from exactly what happened to me. The first client is a 26-year-old woman whose parents are trying to take over her tech startup. I show her what clauses to add, what documents to keep, how to protect her work from the people who should protect her. Caleb works with me now. He quit his finance job and joined me as COO. We don't talk about his grandmother. Paige moved out 2 weeks after the closing. The divorce papers arrived last month. She got the condo my parents promised her. I kept my name. My mother and I haven't spoken since the day she signed the final documents. I heard she's writing a book about building a business from the ground up. I won't read it. Because I don't need her version anymore. I have mine. The press release is framed on my office wall. Founded by Owen Castellano. 5 words. But they're the right 5 words. Last week, I got a letter from my mother. I almost didn't open it. Inside, 1 line. You destroyed us. I read it. Then I filed it away, because she still doesn't understand. I didn't destroy them. I just refused to let them destroy me. And in the end, the truth is the only thing they couldn't take. Epilogue. My name is Owen Castellano. I'm 47 years old. My parents sold my company for $480 million and tried to erase me from history. But they overlooked one clause. A clause I wrote at 2 a.m. 13 years ago, exhausted and probably drunk, never thinking it would matter. It mattered. Not because it made me rich, but because it forced them to say my name. And sometimes, that's all you need. Your name, your truth, your refusal to disappear. If you've ever been erased by people who should have protected you, I want you to know something. Document everything. Protect your work. And never ever sign something you haven't read. Because the people who love you can hurt you worst of all. But they can't erase you. Not unless you let them. Thank you for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who's ever felt invisible in their own life. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and whether you've ever had to fight for credit you deserved. I read every single one. Until next time, remember, your name belongs to you. Don't let anyone take it.